Hola, clase. Senior Boyle here, and today is Thursday. We are talking about some irregular preterite things. I know you love this topic, but it's pretty easy to deal with if we hit a little bit at a time, right? So last time what we talked about was verbs that end with usir or ucir. Do you remember what you do? So take a quick uh, little practice exercise. Hit pause if you need to grab a sheet of paper and something to write with. And I'd like you to create a chart like this. Put the verb producir, and I'm only going to make you do one of these, okay? Put the verb producir in the preterite. Okay, push pause and do that. Give yourself 30 seconds. Come back to this when you're finished. Okay, so here we are. And producir, if you remember correctly, we drop the IR and we change C to J. That's one way of saying it. Drop the IR, change C to J. Another way you could think of this, and you get the same result, is drop the CIR and add J. Okay, we're going to do that for all forms of the verb. And do you remember the endings? These are irregular endings. They are the same endings that you would use for decir and traer. So we have iste, o, imos, istes, eron, no accent marks. Okay, that's something we did last time. Same with conducir, introducir. Okay, and now we are going to go over some of these questions, or not questions, but translations. All right, so these are not too hard. The company produced many products. We said last time that you could say la empresa or la compañía. Easy stuff. Produjo muchos productos. Produjo is singular, third person, L-A usted, and muchos productos. Hey, next one. I drove the car to the movies. In Spain, we're going to use the verb conducir, and we're going to use the word coche for car. So we have yo conduje el coche al cine. And remember, we said movies. The movies themselves are películas, but the place where you watch the movies is really called the theater, the movie theater. So, but in English, we kind of drop the word theater and we just say, hey, let's go to the movies. And really, it's al cine. I suppose there's places where you could say, vamos a las películas, but I've not really heard that. Okay, what would you say in Mexico or other parts of Latin America where we don't use the verb conducir and we don't use the word coche? The verb is manejar. It's an AR verb. We would say manejé el carro al cine, and use this when you go south, okay? Hey, next one. Oh, I forgot to do the programming. No problem. Introdujeron, they introduced, they put. All right, so if you introduce something inside of something else, you insert that, then we would use the verb introducir. And do you remember the verb to introduce a person? It's the verb presentar. So you can't mix those two up. You can't say, I'd like to introduce my friend to you with the verb introducir. You have to say, yo quiero presentarle a mi amigo Bob. Okay, and a llave is a key, and ranura is a slot. I translated those words into Spanish. Yo traduje esas palabras al español. Esas is the word those. And because palabras is feminine plural, we have to have esas as feminine plural. Teacher reduced my grade to a 64. And I get a kick out of this, is always a female teacher in all of these examples, except for mine. I always use male examples because I'm sexist, apparently. El profesor or la profesora, either way, redujo mi nota a 64. Okay, so those are pretty straight up, man. Those are easy. All right, let's do this. This is a little bit tougher. In your blue packet of notes, I'd like you to go to this section, verbs with irregular stems. It's very similar to what we've been doing. It's a little bit more memorizing. And, as we progress in this COVID-19 lockdown, what do you call it? Quarantine garbage, we have to at least get through the preterite for this year. I mean, I promise you, we will finish this packet in a few days. Okay, so tell you what. Here's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn some stem changing verbs that share the same irregular endings in the preterite. None of these have accent marks. All right, now I think that there's a spot in your notes. I don't have a set of notes with me right here handy, but I think that somewhere in your notes, there's a place for you to fill in blank spaces, maybe. Next part. Here are the verbs that we're talking about. There are 10. There are actually more than 10, but these are the 10 we care about. So what we're going to do is first, let's translate these. Andar, estar, tener, haber. Okay, so in class, if I were teaching this, I'd say, hey, we'll take a shout out. But do you know what the verb andar is? It means a lot of different things. It is used in Spain mostly for the verb to walk, but it can also mean to go. In Central America and South America, it's used differently, but in Mexico, it is used for walking in a lot of times. So let's just say this is to go for a ride, to get from one place to another on your legs or in a car. Okay. Estar we know is to be, and we're talking about temporary situations like my coffee is cold. The weather is nice. I am fine. Those kinds of things. Tener is to have. Haber, remember this is the auxiliary verb. We'll see this working in a little bit. The aux verb to have. This is like saying, I have eaten. I have studied. It is used with another verb. Poder is to be able. Poner is to put, place, or set. Saber is to know information, facts, or how to do something. Hacer is to do or make. Querer is to want or love. And venir is to come. Those are going to have irregular stems. All right, say that with me. These verbs are going to have irregular stems. And I need to teach you what those irregular stems are. Okay, so what are the irregular stems? For andar, and this is in your notes, so you're going to actually write these down in your notes. Andar is going to change the stem to anduv. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to write anduv next to andar, but when you go to conjugate, you're going to use the stem anduv for all of the forms of the verb. For yo, tú, él y usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ustedes, are all going to start with anduv, and then we're going to add an ending to that. Estar is going to be estuv. Tener is going to be tuv. Haber is going to be ub. Poder is going to be pud. Poner is going to be pus. Saber is going to be sup. Everyone's like, sup. Sup, man. Hacer is is. Querer is quis. And venir is vin. Okay, you have those stems. Now what are you going to do? Well, what you're going to do is you are going to conjugate. Here is a chart that is designed just for the endings. Okay, now we already saw a set of endings. We saw a set of endings for decir, traer, and verbs that end with usir. These are almost exactly the same, but not quite. Okay, and you're going to use these endings for all of those irregulars we just showed you. No accent marks. So in the yo form, the ending is e. In the tu form, the ending is iste. El y usted, o. Nosotros, imos. Vosotros, isteis. And this is where it's different. You're like, hey, this is the same exact thing, senor, except for this one. Dieron. Remember the difference before was eron. So dijeron, Dijeron. But with this one, we're going to use ieron for these irregular stem verbs. Okay. Okay, so you have those in your notes, right? You got those copied down. Let's do one. Let's conjugate saber. We're going to drop I'm sorry, we're not going to drop the ending. We're going to change the stem. And the stem, the irregular stem for saber is soup. So let's put soup down for all 6, actually all 12 forms. And then let's add those endings we just wrote. So we have supe, supiste, supo, supimos, supistes, supieron. Supe, supiste, supo, supimos, supiste, supieron. Hey, let's do another one. Estar. Change the stem to estuve at the ending estuve. Tu form estuviste. Le usted estuvo. Nosotros estuvimos. Vosotros estuvisteis. By the way, I'm not good at vosotros. I just am not. And I do mispronounce things occasionally. But I know for a fact that this is pronounced estuvistes. This ending is actually a 2-syllable ending. This EIS is 1 syllable, ace. And this is is. Istes. So it's estuvistes, not estuvistes. Okay? Estuvistes. And the last one is estuvieron. Okay, what's next? Querer. I think there is a space in your notes for querer. I think you can handle this. Quise, hiciste, quiso, hicimos, quisisteis, quisieron. You might have to hit pause. Tener. Tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvisteis, tuvieron. You might have to hit pause, but maybe not. Okay, let's stop right there. Let me take you to Quizlet. Now, there's a link in the Google Classroom assignment for this if you don't get it. But in Quizlet, there is this study set, irregular preterite stems and irregular endings. And like I said, I'm going to put a link. You can do, when you do this, if you hit flashcards and you hit shuffle, go to options. And what you're going to have to do is, we don't want it to tell us estuve. We want it to tell us estar, and we want to be able to say, oh, that's estuve, right, to practice. So we're going to say answer with definition. Turn off the audio. It drives me crazy. And that way, when I go through this list, I can just say, oh, okay, there's 2 things in here. For estar, oh, the ending is estuve. Oh, yes. And I'm sorry, not the ending. Let's go back here. Let me clarify that. For estar, the stem is estuve. Oh, yes, I got that right. And in the ea form, what's the ending? Because we're looking for either an ending or a stem. All right, so aya, what's the ending for aya? It's O, no accent mark, right? Oh, two form. What's the two form ending in the irregular verbs with irregular endings? Iste. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, what's aber? What's the stem for aber? It's oob. Okay, so that's how you have to practice this. Once again, options, answer with definition. I don't know if you like the audio on or off. Maybe it's entertaining to you to put it on. And hit shuffle, and you only have 20 of them because there are 10 pronouns and 10 irregular verbs. Okay. Hey, I hope that that was helpful to you. And I hope that you have an awesome day.